guys. How you going? Pre-game show. Tuesday? Yeah, Tuesday. 5 games on. We'll talk about what we need to talk about. We don't have any lineups confirmed yet, but we just got word that LeBron is in tonight. He said yesterday that he was going to play, and then he was popped on the injury report as questionable, but he is officially in, so we got that one. Lots of other guys out, though, today. No Anunoby, no Randall, obviously. DeAndre Hunter is back. DeJounte Murray is back. Anthony Davis is out. Horford is out. Cornette is out. Porzingis is back. Halliburton is back. McConnell is out. Mathurin is out. Miles Turner is back. Levine is out. Rowan Barrett is out. Quickly is out. Pirtle is out. Moses Moody is out. Nick Batum is out. Tyrese Maxey is out. Melton is out. Lakers are starting Jackson Hayes in place of Anthony Davis. There you go. As we get through all of this stuff, because I'm currently working at Basketball Monster at the moment, putting the all the data out over there, which I don't always do when we are going live, but I'm putting that out there. So sometimes there'll be some pauses in what I do. I probably should chuck the lineups screen up for you guys so you can see it. So we'll chuck that across. And you can check out what is going on there. I'm going to go confirm that Lakers lineup. So we do have Russell Reeves, Prince, James, and Hayes as the starters. And that's that confirmed. We don't have the Jazz or the Knicks lineups out yet, which is weird because that is an early game too. Hello, everybody. How are you all? Why is the number 2 pick forever cursed? What's cursed about it, Dan? Is Cater a good stream tonight? He's an all right stream, but obviously Porzingis is playing. But Cater will get the backup minutes, so he's okay. Wouldn't say he's awesome, but he's okay. What happened, Edvards? Are people dropping jokes, or they've been dumb? We don't have any time frame on how long Lively's out. No. He might be 1 game, might be 3 games. I don't know. It's got a broken nose, so he could come back in a game easily. Is Horford a drop in 12, 10 points now? Porzingis is healthy-ish. Yeah, like in a points league, Horford has limited value, and he's just going to be streamable, so you don't need to hold on to him. Young, Murray, Bay, Johnson, Capella for the Hawks are back to their usual starting lineup with Bogdanovic moving to the bench and DeAndre Hunter. Oh, actually, no, sorry, my bad. Bay is starting and not Hunter. So there you go. Which is not what they did earlier in the season, but I'm guessing DeAndre is going to be on a minutes limit. That would be smart, wouldn't it, to suggest? So Bogdanovic comes off the bench for the Hawks. As I go through and just find all of these things that we need to find. Let's have a look at that lineup page. Hartenstein, minutes, limits. We expect the Knicks and Knicks and Jazz lineup should be the same. Pacers lineup just got confirmed. So what is up on your screen there? Hey, where is it? That's confirmed, that Pacers lineup. So is there you go. Halliburton, here, Neesmith, Siakam, Turner. And the Celtics lineup is also confirmed. So I'm just going to put those out for you. They're confirmed. Now, the Pacers lineup is obviously different to the last game because Miles Turner is back. Jalen Smith now moves to the bench. And Halliburton is back. So they did bench Nembhard, okay. And they kept Hield starting. I think Nembhard is going to be a drop, but let's see what they do because Hield's minutes have obviously been very weird. And we've got no McConnell in this one as well. No Mathurin also. So Nembhard actually might be able to maintain value in this game, but it might be fool's gold. Be aware of that. Still no Knicks and Jazz. Okay. Welcome, everybody, into the show. If you hit thumbs up, go on with it. What's going on with Kyrie? He's got a thumb sprain. LaMelo is getting shut down. I hate that word. I hate the shutdown word. I hate it. Should I trade him? Like, GC, you have going to get no value back. You're not getting any value. You're right. He's got a 2-game playoff week. He's injured. What are you getting back? A top 70 player? I wouldn't bother, honestly. Who's my priority order of streamers on the Mavs with everyone out? If Hardaway is available, it's him. Otherwise, it's Hardy. And then we get into guys like Green. But Hardaway and Hardy very clearly high. Chet wasn't listed on the Buy Low show, but what would I give up to acquire him? He was on the Buy Low show 2 weeks ago. That's why I didn't put him on this week. A top 70 player I would give up. He's not getting back to first round value. He's not getting back to top 20 value. I think he might be around the 40 mark, 35, 40 mark, but I wouldn't give that up to get him. So that means I don't get him. I don't get him. Drop Bay now that Hunter is back. I wait for today and let's see what happens, yes? Someone said, should you be worried about LaMelo, right? Yes. But they also said yesterday, there was an article with Steve Clifford that I'm just going to check any more lineup news. No. There was an article with Steve Clifford saying that, like, we're not playing for anything. And then he, like, backtracked. Oh, no. We said, like, the games are meaningless. And then he backtracked. No, it actually means something. And he's like, and LaMelo's like, no, I want to play. And they were basically saying that, like, LaMelo was going to play. They'll be cautious, but he's going to play because they were codedly saying he's the only fun thing on this team. And we want the fans to see him play, and he hasn't played much over 2 years. So I don't think that it's going to be his season over or anything like that. I think there's going to be frustrations, and it's annoying that he's dealing with this, but I don't think this is like he's finished. That's why I wouldn't be like, you trade him now, you get nothing. You get a top 60 player, top 70 player. I'd rather just hold on to him, right, and see if maybe he does play. Also, quick, something to note with the Hawks today. They are completely healthy, right? Well, of their rotation players. And today is the day that they called up Kobe Buffkin. I don't know why. He's not even inactive. He's available to play. He's played 4 minutes all season. Hunter's been out. Murray's been out. All these guys have missed time. Trey had a concussion. No Buffkin. Today they called him up. And he's active. I'm very, very closely watching Kobe Buffkin. There's a long way to go to get value, but I'm very closely watching. Very closely. He's been putting up some killer G League numbers. In fact, let's do the Kobe Buffkin G League stat check now. We will go play Dribble Game in a second, but I want to have a look because I don't know why I'm so invested in it. Because I'm just frustrated that the 15th overall picks played 4 minutes. And I think there are some very easy paths for a role in March here on this team. Let's have a look. He's played 13 games for College Park, 32 minutes a night for Kobe Buffkin, 23.5 points, shooting 44 from the field, 34 from 3 on 7.6 attempts, 84 from the line, averaging 5.5 rebounds, 6 assists, and 1.3 steals. That's 41 fantasy points. Yeah, that's interesting. Kobe Buffkin is active. How very interesting. Let's see if he plays. But where are the minutes? Like, they've been running Patty Mills and Gary Matthews and Wesley Matthews. And so at best, he can be the fourth guard behind Bogdanovic. I just want him to play more than the 4 minutes that he's played. Jazz, Knicks, any chance of a lineup, my guys? I know it's going to be the same lineup, but can you just actually come and confirm it? That would be great as well. Am I worried about Embiid? Like, no more than I am all the time. Yes, Halliburton will be on a minutes restriction. How much longer do we hold Mark Williams? Mark Williams was dropped 5 weeks ago. Due to lack of counting stats, is it safe to assume Lillard is the biggest first-round bust this season? Lillard is ranked ahead of Jason Tatum this season. And Lillard was getting drafted after Jason Tatum this season. So absolutely not. Not even remotely close to it. Yeah, okay, so now that's one. Edwin. Jalen Williams is out. They listed Shea and Chet as questionable tomorrow. And Jokic is questionable for that game too. That could be a weird game. Weird game. As Danny, I'm not going to answer you because you're screaming. Right with our caps, and maybe we do it. Let's do Dribble Game. Let's see how quickly we can knock this one out. Yesterday's was bad, that Daniel Tice one. What's this swipe ball? What the hell is swipe ball? Or gritty. Okay, cool. What the hell is this? Darren Fox to Mike Conley. Grizzlies. Wolves. So Fox has only obviously played for one team. So who's Trey Lyles ever played with Conley? I don't think so. JaVale McGee ever played with Conley? Sabonis? No. Terrence Davis? No. Harrison Barnes? No. This is another one I'm going to fail on. Buddy Hield? No. Halliburton? No. Kyle Anderson? No. No, hang on. Kyle Anderson never played with Fox. What am I talking about? Malik Monk? No. Okay, Chad, help me with that one. Yeah, but Kyle answers what I said, Peter, but I don't know how he plays with... When did he play with Fox? He didn't. He never played with the Kings. Rudy Gay. That's interesting. Rudy Gay. That might be it. No, he never played with Fox. He must have been in Sacramento before Fox got there. Okay. So who is it then? One of the backup point guards? Alex Len? Did he ever play with Conley? I don't think so. Zach Randolph. Bang. All right, cool. Eventually got there. Do I think Levine plays before the trade deadline? No, I don't. Lyles, didn't he play in Utah? Yes, but not when Conley was there. Anyway, we solved it. But no, I don't think he did when Conley was there. I'm not sure about that. Come on, Utah. Knicks, any lineup change? Any chance? I don't know what we're waiting for here. And the other one, the only two statuses we're waiting on actually for players is Joel Embiid is a game time decision, and Marcus Morris is questionable. That's all we're waiting on for the day. You keep talking about the Mavs 2-game playoff schedule. I don't know why that's such a big deal. It's only 2 games in week 1 of the playoffs. Yeah, if you have a terrible playoff schedule. And then it's 4 and 4. If you have a bye week, then Luka is arguably number 1 in the playoffs. Okay, Corey, let me tell you a couple of things here. That's only if you use the worst playoff schedule, second worst playoff schedule you possibly could, which the majority, and when I always have stated this, and I've said this all the way through, if I have given a suggested playoff schedule and it ends on March the 24th, which is the grand final week with a 2-game week for the Mavericks. That is the best playoff schedule. So, if you use Yahoo's recommended schedule, which is, again, dreadful, and you'd play that 2 games in the first week and you have a bye, all good. Again, that's always why it's important to understand your league settings. But you said Luka might be the number 1 playoff player. He's not the number 1 player this season. He's 5th in category leagues. He's 5th. So he's not the number 1 player. In points leagues, sure, he is the number 1 player. But in category leagues, he's not. He's not the number 1 player at all. So why would he be the number 1 player with a 10-game schedule when there are guys, I'm pretty sure in that, let me double check that. I'm certain there are teams that have 12 games during that same time frame. So let me go and have a look at that so I can actually tell you. But there's these huge misconceptions about the value of players, or even like what Luka's doing now. Like, he's been great for the short term, 5th for the season. Let's have a look. So that playoff schedule, Yahoo playoff schedule, the Dallas Mavericks have the fewest amount of games of any team. They have 10. So even though there's only that 2 games, they still have the fewest games. Now, for a fewest games, I wouldn't normally ding a guy way down. But when we've got a 2-game week in there, I don't like it. And again, I was specifically talking about what I believe is the perfect playoff schedule and the perfect playoff dates, and that's ending on March the 24th. So there you go. I hope that makes sense. I don't talk playoff schedule in drafts at all, ever. Apart from when there are 2-game weeks there which are bad and are killers. I don't care about having 11 games or 10 games across a 3-week period. I don't care. I don't put any attention on that. A 2-game week in your finals week is a killer when there are other players who are equivalent. Because Luka was going at 2 in drafts. Jokic, Embiid, Shea, Halliburton, all definitely better than him. And their production, it's not like Luka is just ahead of all of them. He's not. Make sense? Jazz lineup is out. Knicks lineup is out. Is the same ones that we expected. So that is all confirmed. Again, they're always, and if you're in a points league, it's a different story because he is a higher level player. Someone also argued in the comments when I was talking about it in my buy low, sell high show about Luka. I'm going to go on to this because this is important to know. They said, well, no matter who you get, like even a 4-game player, they're not going to get 150 fantasy points in their 4 games during that playoff week where Luka plays 2. Okay, that's true. But Luka averages 61 this season. He's averaging 76 over the last 2 weeks, playing 41 minutes a night because other players have been out, but he averages 61. So let's say he goes back to averaging 61, 2-game week, 122 points. I need a 4-game week from a 30-point player, and that's better than him. There's probably 60 blokes who do that. There's definitely 60 guys who average 30 points, yes? Actually, I can tell you the answer. Let's go and have a look. And maybe he has a spike and he averages 65. But remember, he's averaging 76 at the moment, Luka, and that's brought his season average to 61. So there's a lot of revisionist history about what Luka actually does and how he produces and what his value is based on this insane run, which is obviously insane. And it makes me feel like I hate Luka, and I very much don't. I'm just trying to be realistic with it. Let's see how many players average over 30 fantasy points this season. 85. 85 average 30 fantasy points. We get it now? We understand why I'm where I'm coming from with that? I hope. I haven't heard anything on either Sharp, either Shaden or old mate Dayron. Haven't heard anything. Corey, do you understand what I'm talking about at all with the schedules at all? I get it. If you have that buy-in for week 1, the 4 games are great. But my point was, always with all of this stuff, was you don't take Luka at 2 in a category league. It's ridiculous. Can I explain why Jordan Hawkins is it wasn't the Manure legend, it's the Namur legend. This is anyone from Australia that's in the chat that understands what I'm talking about when I call Jordan Hawkins the Namur legend, and then I'll explain it to you later on. Henri Drell is active today, and Adama Sadogo as well, so set your lineups accordingly. This is a great opportunity, by the way. Speaking of LaMelo Ball, as we were earlier, it's a great opportunity to buy low on him. Because every commenter said, man, who do I target to dump this guy? I just want to get rid of him. You literally might be able to get him for like almost nothing with the frustrations that people have. Do I think DeJounte Murray is a better player than Reeves? Yes, I do. I don't think he's that good, but yes, I do. Game of the day predictions. Let's have a look what the games are. Indiana-Boston. Yeah, Indiana-Boston. Josh, our commissioner and Buddy have decided to make a rule that you can't trade with a team that is out of contention, even though it's before trade deadline, no collusion. What's your take? A few things I'd like to check. If they're out of playoff contention and mathematically can't make the playoffs, and there's no like carryover effect, like if you finish last or second last, you get a higher draft pick or punishments or anything like that. If it's just nothing, then I agree. Why are they trading? What's the point of them making any trades? That is just ripe for collusion and ripping off all those players going, I don't care, take this guy. Right, so I agree to that extent. It would just depend a lot on the other things like that are part of it. Like, do you have punishments? Do you have the seedings that matter for next season for draft order or whatever? But if it's not, then I agree. What's the chances that Embiid is out again? I would say that he is like a 60% chance to play would be my guess. Wara or Trent Jr. tonight? It's just Trent. Let's be fair. Wara was great last game. How do I want to trust Wara though? Let's be fair. I would rather look. I understand that Wara was better last game, but always remember, if you're streaming in today, you don't get that last game, and Gary Trent is going to start and has a more proven track record. So while it might blow up in my face and be wrong, that is the direction I would likely go. There has been no info on J-Dub's injury severity. No, all we know that is Jalen Williams is out tomorrow. What is the deal with Tari Eason? Is he must roster at the moment? Handsome, welcome to watching the show for the first time. He's been a drop for weeks. Weeks. Who is Michael Bolton? Just chuck a Google on that, Arnaldo. Michael Bolton is a legendary singer with a 50-year career. And it's very weird that people have never heard of Michael Bolton. Again, Handsome Squidward, if you're looking to offload LaMelo, it is literally the worst time. You will get nothing back. You won't get. Look, if you could get a top 30 player, do it. You won't. And usually, the immediate reaction that people have, oh, he's out, they're going to shut him down. If you have that, everyone has that. So therefore, you're getting nothing back in return. And honestly, if you get like a top 80 player back for LaMelo, you're better off having him with the chance that he still does play versus getting that back, which honestly, when you get to the fantasy playoffs, You might be able to find 3 guys who pop up out of nowhere due to injuries or trades or whatever that provide top 80 value anyway. So, no, I wouldn't do that. DeAndre Hunter has a minutes restriction today, somewhere in the teens. There you go. So we got all of that. I hope all this makes sense when I'm talking about Luka or I'm talking about LaMelo. It could be wrong, but yeah. I would guess that it's not a big deal for Lively's broken nose. Am I expecting a minutes limit for Garland when he returns? Yeah, but not too much, Mac Attack. It'll be more a conditioning limit, so maybe it's like 28 minutes for one game or something. Or I don't think it's going to be for a long time or a low. It's not going to be hugely restricted, I wouldn't have thought. Do the Knicks not have someone more interesting in the G League they rather call up than back to Taj Gibson? You've heard of Tom Thibodeau, yeah? The back end of their roster is already filled with these players. Charlie Brown. They had Daquan Jeffries there. Dwayne Washington was there. Jacob Toppin is on this roster. Tibbs won't play him. He just won't. Non-fantasy Aaron Wiggins career predictions. I don't know. He looks pretty good. I don't think he's ever going to be a starter level player, but let's put it this way, old mate Sean. What are the odds that Aaron Wiggins turns into a better player than Lou Dort? I wouldn't rule that out. I think he's a solid enough 5th starter on a solid team. That's best case, I would guess. I'd like to see where Darko puts Aaron Wiggins, because Darko obviously really trustworthy and highly valued advanced stat, which has it takes what has happened, but it's also got a predictive part to it. It's about forward projections as well. So it doesn't go super into many years in the future, but it gives us some interesting looks. So Aaron Wiggins is listed as 179th in the overall league in Darko this season. That's interesting. He's got the 39th best level of improvement in Darko this season. Also interesting. Yeah, that is 5th starter-ish sort of territory, I think. Do you agree? Disagree? What do you think? Any tips on getting into public leagues? Timmy, I can't play any public leagues. I'm geo-blocked. So someone asked me in one of the other shows, so yeah, what's his Yahoo rating? I don't play on Yahoo. I've got one league on Yahoo and that's it. And if I could, I would go in and play all of these public leagues, because there are some people in there that I just no idea what they're doing. And I think I'd have pretty good success. But I can't play them. So no, I don't have any success. I don't have any tips for that. The best leagues to go to, FBI Basketball, get into their Discord, and B-Dub puts out hundreds of them in the off-season. Rest of season Wara? No, I don't think so. Look, there are 3 starters out on this team at the moment. Quickly, Barrett, and Pirtle. And Wara's getting minutes for that, and that's about it. So maybe there'll be times when other guys get hurt or whatever, but I don't think he's going to be in the rotation most nights. No one knows about the Namua legend. All right, so back in the early 90s, there was a show here in Australia called The Footy Show, all right? And there was a guy that played for my favourite team, which was called Footscray at the time, Western Bulldogs, named Dougie Hawkins. Jordan Hawkins, there's the name link. Right, Dougie, very good footy player, not the most intellectual man in the world. He was on there, he was just a goose, he was a clown, right? And he tried to say manure, and he couldn't pronounce the word, and he called it Namua. It's Namua. And I don't know what the context was around Namua or manure, but it became like a catchphrasey sort of thing that he said, and everyone picked on Dougie for being dumb, because he was, and his inability to speak. So Jordan Hawkins, Doug Hawkins, manure Namua, so he's a Namua legend, Jordan Hawkins. One of the longest runways ever to get to a joke that no one understands. But I do, and that's what matters. Is Aaron Wiggins turning things around? Yes. Yes, he is. Do I fully trust it yet? Not yet. But I think he's worth grabbing. Will I ever discuss Durant on my show, or is it exclusive for Basketball Monster subscribers? It's sort of in a testing phase this season, and I want to see how it goes. At the end of the season, I will definitely do a recap on it on a show here, and then we'll try and, say with Bazemore, the Dynasty ranking, and try and, what do you call it? tweak it and adjust it and see how it looks. But this was something that I came up with in the off-season. Too much time on my hands, obviously, to try and get better ideas of rankings. Now, my problem with the rankings in fantasy basketball is they don't reflect reality. As I talked so many times about, like in previous years, why is Robert Williams ranked ahead of Luka Doncic? Makes no sense. Why is Delon Wright 50 spots ahead of Giannis? Doesn't make any sense, no basis in reality. We talk about these numbers. Well, this guy's ranked, and it has no reflection on how it actually impacts winning across fantasy basketball. And that's where Durant came in to try and normalize these things. Well, look at this. You've got Miles Turner as the 13th best player, or Jaren Jackson's a first rounder. Well, actually, he's not. He's not that good. So that's what that stuff was done. So I'm going to go back and review it at the end of the season, make some tweaks, and talk about it in the off season there. But yeah, that's sort of. I haven't really paid a huge amount of attention. My time is so chock full at the moment, trying to do things like just get all the shows out and analyze day-to-day minutes, season-long minutes and projections. I haven't paid a huge amount of attention to how it's going. That'll be an end of the season thing. Final parting thought of the day. Tim says, we mentioned the 2-game Luka playoff week, an example of an inequality with the way fantasy basketball matchups scored. Shouldn't we try to fix this problem? I mean, sure, but what are you going to do? That's the way the NBA schedule goes. There's really no way to fix it unless you want to use averages. For leagues, then you've got to set minimums for games played to count averages, or minutes played for averages. So, like, I'm not that worried. Like, there are a lot of issues with the way fantasy basketball is played, and I've tried to fix a lot of these with the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Bowl this season. I think it's been a pretty decent success. Games caps for the week, the roster sizes, all that sort of stuff. I think it's been pretty successful as a general rule. I'm not really that into, like, let's make it averages for the week, and I don't really care significantly about the game played inequality between players through a playoff week that much. But Tim, if you've got a great idea, I'd love to hear it, and I'm sure it's going to be averages. What else would it be? What's my personal ranking of fantasy basketball platforms? ESPN's the bottom. Well, it's equal with Sleeper, to be honest. Fantrax is the best without question. Yahoo's next. And then it's ESPN and Sleeper at the bottom. Is Giggity a Josh Lloyd special? It's from Quagmire on Family Guy, who says that whenever he says something like a little rude. Am I skeptical on Tyus Jones? Yes. Do I think he'll continue to be this solid? No. I think there's a risk of a trade there with him. Why did Harrison Barnes get a soundbite? He always had one. And it's all about trying to find the right sounds that I can play. And eventually, like, when things come to me or find a way to get them done that I'm able to play them, I will bring ones back that I can. So he always had one, and he was getting red hot, and then I found a way to bring it in. You've never heard of Family Guy? Wow. How have you never heard of Family Guy, Yuri? Ben Simmons top 50? I doubt it. Hartenstein minutes? Don't know. It'll be limited. Should you still keep him? Yes, absolutely. What do I think the impact of AI will be on fantasy basketball? Nothing, I don't think, really. I don't think there'll be much to it, to be honest. I don't see what it will do. If you've got ideas, let me know. But I don't think so. Would I rather have Vince Williams or Brogdon rest of season? Vince, very clearly. I know Brogdon's outperforming him, but Vince, you've got to look a little bit ahead of that. 2-week playoff matches kind of fixes the game's play. It does, you're right. All right, but then you get to that problem where you have, I think the ideal thing would be to have 2-week playoff matchups with 4 weeks totals of playoffs. But then you get to that problem where if you are playing in a league where only 4 teams make the playoffs, the league becomes less competitive faster because teams are like, they're out of playoff contention early, which leads to problems that way too. But I think a 4 teams making playoffs, two weeks, 2 matchups is a way to solve that, I agree. But if you do it with 6, you standard 6-team playoff, then you run into that scenario. We don't need 6, you can have 8. Those buys are pretty ridiculous. But that requires you to have 6 weeks worth of playoffs, and then because you're going to end the season early anyway, then you're pushing into starting playoffs before the trade deadline or before the All-Star break in the NBA, which I don't really like. That's where the problem gets in, I think. Fire Ham, yes or no? Not my call. But I don't know. It depends who else you'd be going to get. I would say he's not very good as a coach at this point. And I don't think it'll be the wrong call to fire him. So, Tim, this is your thing, right? It's not averages. It's a case of each game counts as a separate head-to-head matchup. Each team, each player. There's one. I honestly don't know what that means. One game counts in the head-to-head matchup. What is that? What does that mean? Tim, you're going to have to explain that more. I don't get it at all. How did you use AI to draft your team, Mac Attack? Betting strategy update. I haven't been able to put the bets on lately. I'll tell you what the strategy was, right? This is what the strategy is. And it's a lot of work. Is that you look at player props for points, rebounds, and assists. Not together, individual. And then you have the alternate lines where you can drag them right down. So Luka might have a player prop of 30 points, but you can go and get better odds by setting it down to 21.5 or whatever it is. So you go into Luka's points and you drop it to the lowest number. You go down to Luka's rebounds, you drop it to the lowest number. You go down to Luka's assists, you drop it to the lowest number, and you choose the under on all of those. So instead of them being like $1.90 or whatever odds you want to use, minus 110 in America, they become like plus or minus plus 300 or $3.60 in Australian terms for each one of those. You put them together in a multi, in a parlay, the three of those, the under the lowest number for points, under for rebounds, under for assists. You put them together in a parlay. It pays like depending on the odds, between $15 to $30. If it hits, you do it for every player on the slate that's available. And there's weird ejections that happen. There are early injuries that happen. There are weird games where players get in foul trouble and it happens. Weird bad performance happens. And you might put 70 bets on. You hit 6 of them and you get a huge profit. Now, it started out really well for me. I started the 8th of January, and the last time I did it was the 26th of January, and in that time, I am plus 116 units. But it got up to plus 217 units, and then over the next week, it dropped by 100 units. So it was way up, and it's been way down, and then it started to come back up again. So it's a little bit all over the place. That's why I didn't put it out everywhere, but that's what I did. I don't think I'm going to track it any further, and I hope that makes sense. Are we almost done here? Yeah, we are. God, I need to go. When did I make a video about the playoff schedule? In the off-season, when you choose your playoff schedule. Do not change your playoff schedule now. Not at all. But I do that in the off-season every time. Every time. Do I think having emergency players on the bench could cover late outs would be a good addition to fantasy NBA like in the AFL? That's part of what I wanted to do with Locked On Fantasy Basketball Bowl is have a larger bench. So that instead of having your standard 10 active and 3 bench guys, we had 8 bench players. So that if you did hear that someone was out, you had an array of bench guys. You could just slot someone in and fix that problem. So, yeah, there's something like that. I'm talking about how Sleeper does theirs. What do you mean? Is that what Tim's talking about? Yeah, I hate that idea. Anyway, but Tim, I'll talk to you about it another time. All right. We are getting out of here. So, again, thanks for everyone for being a part of the show. And I will... I'll see you later. Hit thumbs up. Hit subscribe. Got to go.